Hello and welcome to Broke with Audiophile Taste, my channel where I talk about records. Today we're going to do episode 3 of my series on mastering engineers in studios. So, record cutting engineers. Today, Ron McMaster. And let's get right down to it. So I've got a lot of, he worked at Capitol Mastering, I believe, and all, if not almost all or all of the records I have mastered by him are stuff that that Rhino re-released in the last 15 or so years. So for example, Gang of Four's Entertainment. All right, and this was that phase where they got the Rhino vinyl label. They didn't start doing that wording where they say cut from the original analog tape. And so it's a little bit of guesswork about what he used. I will say that this sounds really good. And in fact, before a more recent reissue came out, I was convinced this must have been cut from tape. Because it does sound great. It does have that kind of pop out of the speakers and the three-dimensionality and you know, the good room sound and all that kind of stuff. But there was no way to know. But guess what? I just happen to have that more recent Matador reissue right here, and we can do a little quick shootout in the midst of this other project here. So the more recent Matador reissue was cut at Abbey Road by Arkwright. Frank Arkwright, I believe is his name, and it's better. It's better than the Ron McMaster. I'm sorry, Ron. Ron's is great. Ron McMaster's is great. This one's even better. Could be that they're both all analog. Could be that neither of them are. I don't really know for sure. The wording doesn't really tell you enough. I tend to... My default is that if it's not super specific, it's probably digital. Every once in a while, it's still analog. I just don't know the answer. Here we've got the Rhino vinyl T-Rex Electric Warrior. This one was from several years ago, though. I should have looked at what it was. 2009, 2006? Can't remember. There's been a more recent one from Kevin Gray that I showed in another video, and that one's specific that they cut from the original Analog Master. It's awesome. This one also doesn't sound as good as that other one that I have, so I don't know what to tell you there. It's okay. In fact, this is maybe the most underwhelming Ron McMaster record I have. So the Kevin Gray one's hard to get now, but get that one if you can. What else do we have here? Husker Du Candy Apple Gray. Husker Du, of course, put out 2 albums on Warner's, and that's, you know, Rhino vinyl is they reissue stuff from the Warner group, right? So, you know, Warner's and Atlantic and all these. This one, pretty good. Definitely as good as the original. The original might have been cut from digital, since it's listed as being mastered by, I think, by Howie Weinberg. But, you know, this one's easier to get than the original, perhaps. John Coltrane, The Lost Album. What was this called again? Both Directions at Once. I gotta be honest, I haven't listened to this all that much. It never really grabbed me all that much. There's maybe a reason it was a lost album. It certainly doesn't suck by any means, but and if you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not a jazz guy. So you know maybe a jazz guy would can appreciate this on a level that I can't. But also the wording on the inside talks about how it was transferred to digital, and Ron McMaster cut from that. The Rhino Dinosaur Jr. reissues. These are 10, 15 years old at this point, and they sound really good. I'm really impressed with these. I like them a lot. Again, you can't tell exactly what they were cut from, but and they're harder to get these days, but I'd get them if I were you, if you're into that stuff. Rhino Vinyl's Black Sabbath, early Black Sabbath reissue series are so good. First album, cut by Ron McMaster. Paranoid, cut by Kevin Gray. Third album, cut by Ron McMaster. Um, Chris Bellman, I think, did the next two, Volume 4 and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. They were the only basically bad thing about these is that they were pressed at Rainbow. And so it's kind of hit and miss in terms of your copy. I got lucky with Paranoid. It was super noisy. That was one of the records I had that cleaned up great with wood glue. I did wood glue on that, took away all the noise. That's probably the best example I have of that working well. Doesn't always work, but when it works, it's kind of amazing, and it worked with Paranoid. These two just sound awesome. This is the best I've ever heard either of these two albums. And there's plenty of bad mastering that's happened over the years in various CD reissues and stuff like that. These are great. Hard to get anymore. And then we got the first two Stooges albums. All right, with those great Rhino vinyl stickers, right? That are just real clear. LPs cut from the original analog masters. That's just music to my ears, right? Doesn't get any better than that. Great job by Ron McMaster on both of these, especially the first album. Holy shit! Was it I Want to Be Your Dog? It's just like, the sleigh bells are just jumping out of the speakers. It's awesome. Again, rainbow pressings, hit and miss, but if you can get them, they're pretty great. And I think it's the last one I have that I personally have in here is Pil Album. This sounds awesome. Don't know anything about the sourcing on this. Don't know what else to say other than it sounds really good. I'm really happy with it. Don't have anything else to compare it to. This is the only time I've ever owned this. All right. So that's my Ron McMaster collection. I'd say it's a little bit more of a mixed bag than with someone like Kevin Gray. Everything I have from Kevin Gray is amazing. Some of what I have from Ron McMaster is amazing. Some of it's just kind of okay, or at least there's other stuff that's better. Clearly good at what he does, or did, I guess. He, according to Discogs, he retired in 2018. But definitely a guy who's worth checking out in terms of like looking for his specific pressings, because there's some good stuff out there. Like, for example, some of the stuff I just showed you. Okay, thanks for your time. See you on my next video.